Good morning, Norcal Karters. It is October 27th, and our 2021 racing season is coming to an end. Not over yet. There's still a lot of racing going on, but it is coming to an end. And on that topic, a couple weeks ago, we had the IKF Grand Nationals right in our backyard at Prairie City. And what a cool event. There's actually, Donald did a podcast with the EKN crew, and I'll post a link to that interview. Greg Bell, local kart shop, Leading Edge Motorsports, was also on that podcast. And he really went into how the event went, and what it meant to him. So that was a good listen. And then also, this last weekend we had Rok Sonoma wrapped up their series, and that was a lot of fun. I was out there doing the announcing. I was doing the announcing for the IKF Grands as well. But Rok Sonoma doing the announcing there. We were live on YouTube. That's been such a cool project. And they wrapped up their season. So Rok Sonoma, they are done. But in my phone, I have the 2022 schedule for Rok Sonoma. So later this week, I'm going to drop another podcast with that schedule. So that'll be good coming up. And then when I do that podcast, I'll also do a shout out to the Rok Sonoma sponsors. I did do a separate podcast for the IKF Grand Nationals for their sponsors. So you can find that on norcalkarters.com under the podcast link. So I did that. And then also coming up, CCKRA, another supporter of Norcal Karters. They just wrapped up their season at Buttonwillow. And so I'll do another podcast specifically for them and for their sponsors as well. And yeah, it's just been, man, what a great year. It's been very interesting. The whole announcing thing. I'm not an announcer by trade or by profession. But it's been a very cool journey. Still learning a lot about that aspect of karting. But yeah, so let's see. Yeah, it's October 30th. No, it's not. It's October 27th. Sorry, looking at the wrong calendar. But this coming week, what was I talking about? CCKRA. So they wrapped up their season. They'll get a separate podcast where I can say thank you to their sponsors on their behalf on our podcast. Rok Sonoma, when I announce their schedule, I will drop their 2021 sponsors in there. And then we have, I'll reach out to Donald at Prairie City. I'm not really sure what he has for trackside sponsors, but he has a few events left in the year anyway. So he's not ready to get an end of the year podcast because he still has races going on. GFC Karting, Gary Carlton. And he has been a supporter of Norcal Karters. He was one of the first shops that actually reached out to me and said, hey, I will like what you're doing. How can I support it? So we put his race calendar on Norcal Karters' calendar. And that's available to any shop. If you want racers to know where you're going, if they go to norcalkarters.com, they click on the events. Boom. And you see, last weekend, we had Prairie City, race number 8. We had the CCKRA championship event. So that was our season finale at Buttonwillow. We have Rok Sonoma, race 8 and race 9. And then right under is GFC Karting at Sonoma Rock Cup. So, again, if you're a shop and you're listening to this, you tell me what you want on the calendar. Do you want me to point it to your social media pages, to your Instagram? Do you want it to go to your website? You tell me. But when people click on your name on our calendar, it takes them to your page. So, yeah, it's kind of a really cool idea. I mean, it's Gary came up with it, and so we just rolled with it. But yeah, today is October 27th. And this weekend is not on the calendar yet. I just saw it last night. Shasta Kart Club. They have an event this weekend. So the Shasta Kart Club up there in Reading. That's a fun track. It's a beautiful area. They have a race this weekend, and I will get that on the calendar. I didn't have it on there, so I apologize to Shasta for missing your club. for this weekend, but they have a race coming up this weekend. So Shasta Kart Club. I saw it on Facebook. So if you're on Facebook, you can. I'm sure you can track it down there. But that's the only event I have on the calendar for this weekend. It's Halloween, so Saturday. No, Sunday. Sorry. I have two different calendars. So I have one of my calendars starts on Sunday, one of it starts on Monday. I prefer my calendars to start on Monday because for me, my livelihood is karting. So whether I'm at a track working as a mechanic, whether I'm doing the announcing, or shuffling around used kart parts on extrakartparts.com, my life is karting. That's it. So I start my calendar on a Monday. So that way when I'm looking through the week, it goes Monday through Sunday. Why? Because a lot of races happen between Friday and Sunday. And the way my brain works is I want to be able to see at a glance the events coming up this weekend. So that's why I do it that way. So it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday are on the same line. It's same view. Boom. That's just how my mind works. But my other calendar, like I said, it starts on a Sunday. So Saturday, Sunday are on two separate lines. And yeah, it's my quirkiness, I know. But let's see. So that's October. Like I said, Shasta Kart Club. Bear with me for a moment. And then we're in November. Next week, we're in November. I know a lot of the NorCal teams are getting busy for the Vortex Rock Cup event. So that's Rock Vegas. That starts on Wednesday, November 3rd. Goes through Sunday, the 7th. So Vortex Rock Cup in Las Vegas. And we're going to be on the Strip this year. So it's they're utilizing a parking lot at Bally's or Planet Hollywood, one of those resorts that's right on the Strip. So that should be a lot of fun. I'll be down there for a couple of days going back down with Swede Tech. So it'll be nice. It's been a couple of years since I've gone down for Swede Tech, and it's just different. All the experiences are different. Last year I was down there with Christian Cameron as his mechanic, and it had been a while since I had been a mechanic at one of these big, large races where I was actually working on a kart. Locally, I was helping him with all the rock stuff. But, Rock Vegas. So now I get to go back down there with Swede Tech, so that should be fun. Give Rainey a hand there. And then you're kind of getting used to this. If I mention a Vortex event or Sonoma towards the later half of the year, Pro Kart, guess who I start talking about? GFC Karting. Guess who's going to Vegas? Gary Carlton and his crew, gfckarting.com. And then also, November 6th and 7th, Prairie City got a lot of love in October. They had 4 events at their track in October. So Prairie City had 4 events in their track in October. They had a KPX race. They had a couple club races. They had the IKF Grand Nationals. I don't think physically you can fit more races into a track unless you are racing in the middle of the week. So Prairie City, race number 6 for their 2-stroke weekend takes place November 6th through the 7th. And you can find Donald's calendar at pckarting.com. And it looks like the limited 125 shifters of NorCal, looks like they will be in attendance for Donald's race. And for those that don't know, it's basically just a gentleman's group that they keep in contact on their Facebook page, which is Limited 125 Shifters of NorCal. Go to norcalkarters.com, click on that description on the calendar, and it'll take you right to the Facebook page. But my buddy, Henry Damus, he liked what the 80 guys were doing, and he's also a member of that group too. And Henry's got like 900 carts. He's got an 80cc shifter. He's got a 125. What else does he have? He was running the Honda 125 for a while. He's on the Vortex 125. And Henry's just a karter. Like, he just loves karting. So he wanted to develop this group for for like-minded 125 drivers, and they went to Bluemax, they went to Prairie City, they went to Reno. So they just kind of make up their own little schedule and say, hey guys, let's go to this race on this weekend, and let's go to this race on that weekend. Very similar to what the 80cc shifter guys have done. And that group has exploded. So you can check that out. Again, NorcalKarters.com, click on the events tab. You look for 125 limited shifters of NorCal, click on that tab. Boom. Go to Facebook, join the page. And let's see here. Excuse me. I had too much coffee this morning. Didn't really need to wash the coffee down with an energy drink, but I did. Went to bed at 2 a.m. So, yeah. I'm tired and I'm wired. It just did it to myself. November 14th, Bluemax Kart Club. So, November 14th, the Bluemax Kart Club has an event. And let's see here. November 21st, Karts and Coffee down in Modesto. And all of this is on NorcalKarters.com. And then fast forward to December 1st through the 5th. GFC Karting will be back in Las Vegas for the 24th running of the SCUSA Super Nationals. So that is our calendar. I'm kind of going to make it a quick podcast today. I know a lot of you are not used to that, but I'm going to be dropping a couple more podcasts this week. Like I said, we're going to do a Rok Sonoma podcast thanking their sponsors for supporting the series and dropping the 2022 race calendar. So that will be either later tonight or tomorrow. And again, all the podcasts are live. So if you're wondering how you listen live, you basically, however you're hearing this podcast right now, click in the player, go to the actual Norcal Karters page on the podcast app, and subscribe or like, listen, subscribe. So that way you're notified when we go live. So the reason I'm cutting this one short today, again, we're going to be dropping the 2022 race calendar for Rok Sonoma later this week. We're going to say thank you to the sponsors for CCKRA, which is Central California Kart Racing Association, CCKRA.com. And basically what I'm going to do is just go down the list. As series start wrapping up their schedules, the sponsors are going to get first priority. And then, again, just a quick podcast to thank their sponsors. And if you're kind of sitting out there and you're wondering why series needs sponsors, it's pretty simple. You just got to work the math backwards. And some of these tracks like Sonoma are very expensive to run. The IKF Grand Nationals for Donald Urban and his family, very expensive to run. And if they're not able to come up with the sponsors, the only other way that I am aware of paying for something like that is with entry fees. And so the sponsors, they help offset your entry fees. A lot of times the sponsors, they have specific packages. And a lot of times, not packages, prize packages. A lot of time it's just a check. There's a lot of things that the sponsors try to add value to a series for. And 2021, the theme of my podcast was Year of the Sponsor. Very few clubs took me up on it, where I said at the very, very beginning of the year many times, if your series is sponsored by groups or someone you want to say thank you to, send me a list, reach out to me. Let's have you on the podcast. Why don't you talk about your own sponsors? And, just, again, one way that Norcal Karters is trying to bring value to the kart racer, but also to the race series in the area. It kind of goes hand in hand. Without kart racers, we don't have racing. Without racing, we have a lot less kart racers. Without both, we don't have tracks. So again, it goes hand in hand. And you're going to see some new updates on the website in the winter. So Norcal Karters, it got refreshed a few months ago. So I'm really happy with the direction it's going. But by no means is it far from complete. So we will be doing some stuff once we get back from Vegas and working on that. I mean me. So I have a bunch of papers in front of me with notes throughout the year where people have said, oh, you should put this on the page. You should put this on Norcal Karters. Oh, you should do this podcast, or you should do this video. And I listen. I really do. And what I do is if you give me an idea, like if you said, hey, let's have a hot wing eating contest, and 5 other people say, hey, you should have a hot wings eating contest, I just put check marks by everything. And I look at it, and whatever sounds like, oh, this is what the racers want, this is what the promoters want, this is what the tracks want, that's what gets first attention. So once again, I'm going to be busy this winter. The race calendar's over, but well, it's not over. It's winding down, but there's still a lot of work to do. So thank you. If you're listening to the podcast, if you supported NorcalKarters.com, we appreciate it. And as we roll into December, I will also do a Norcal Karters sponsor podcast as well. So yeah, just look for new and exciting stuff coming up. And again, if you're listening and you're not a racer, you're a karter, but you don't race, send me a message. Let me know what you want to hear. Do you want to hear a listing of the tracks via podcast? Do you want to know about other aspects of it? Because I'm so tied in with the kart racer. But there's a lot of you out there that I meet when I go to the tracks that all you do is go out on a Thursday and you pound laps. That's all you do. You just drive on a Thursday. You're not racing. You don't have any desire to go win a championship or anything else. You just want to go hop in your cart. You want to drive on a Thursday. You want to go out for an hour or two, leave with a big smile on your face. So if you're listening to this podcast and you fit that little cube or that little mold, what do you want to hear on Norcal Karters? And with that, yeah, that's it. Everyone, have a great week. We'll have a couple more rolling out by Friday, and I'll talk to everyone soon. NorcalKarters.com.